Hello, everybody. Alright, so, um, we had a pretty interesting boxing weekend. I don't know, by the way, who put these fights in the USA on Sunday. Sorry, who put them on Sunday? This is not alcohol, by the way. I can't watch them live anyhow, so. But so I'll mostly talk about the Riyadh card. Yeah. So let's start with the Josh Kelly and the other guy, whatever his name is pronounced. I have no clue. Jarko, let's say his first name. Beyond me how it's pronounced. So this was the first defense of the IBF super welterweight belt that Josh Kelly won against Bakram Murtazaliev in January. Well, Kelly started out definitely was dominating the first 4 rounds or so, and but Jarko then came, on and landed some good clean shots, made it real close and a tough fight. Kelly was cut up also. He was deducted 1 point also hitting behind the head. And yeah, in the end, all three judges had Kelly winning, but not by, of course. The scoring was good, impartial, I felt. Pretty accurate, And yeah, it's all in all a pretty good fight. I mean, none of the guys were really punchers, so you can't expect a knockout. And I mean, pretty even fight, all in all. But Kelly took it because he won the first 4 rounds. The slow start cost Ajarko. He kind of, as the fight went on, looked a stronger guy, but just wasn't able to really like establish his dominance over Kelly, who is a technically superior fighter, I guess. Well, somewhat superior, yes. Alright, so that was the first fight I wanted to talk about. Then we had a young guy also, just can mention Reito, was it Tsutsumi? He won an impressive victory also against a guy who, I think a Mexican fighter, is he, Alvino Herrera Meza, yeah, Alvino, sorry. Second round stoppage, yeah, very impressive. Can't wait to see more. I'm sure you can't either. And then Hamza Shiraz versus Simon Zahenhuber, sorry. Simon Zahenhuber really surprised me, impressed me. He kind of outboxed, Shiraz for quite a large part of the fight. In Shiraz started out, very well and was landing punches, but was unable to really land those decisive punches. And Zahan Huber strikes me as a tough guy, tough cookie, definitely. I mean, his only loss previous to that, to a guy who also fought on the undercard, Pavel Agus. This was a sixth rounder, okay, and it was pretty close. By the way, yeah, also Jacob Bank won against Pavel August. Pretty dominant display too. But yeah, Hamza Shiraz once again fails to impress. This time, it's not like against Adames and he was injured and stuff. But I guess each time he faces a good technician, which hasn't been many times so far, he kind of struggles, and doesn't look that great. So we'll see what's up next for him. This was a defense, his first one of the WBO super middleweight belt. I doubt he will stay at this weight very long. Just doesn't seem like he's comfortable at 168 anymore either. And he hasn't been here very long since last year, we know. I mean, when he beat Berlanga in July, very impressively. So after two destructions in a row, two quite easy, let's say, destructions, he had to go the distance in a tough fight, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I think his move to 175 is pretty close. Yeah, maybe one more defense at best, and he will be a light heavyweight. Because he's such a big super middleweight, and yeah, he has to drain himself. Obviously, he looked really skinny, and yeah, obviously struggling to make the weight. Yeah, Zahin Hoover, tough guy, not a puncher, but a good boxer. Pretty average power, I would say. But yeah, tough kid, good technician. Really, yeah, I'm impressed. Okay, and now to the main fight, which didn't last very long, of course. And Anthony Joshua found himself on the canvas twice in the first round, to the shock of everyone present, but he rectified that by knocking out Christian Prenga, the huge underdog from Albania. Yeah, so now we can, since Tyson Fury also beat Marius Schwach on Friday, we can finally have that big fight. And it's no longer as big, of course. That's the big shame, the big pity, as it would have been in 21 when it was supposed to happen originally. But thanks to Deontay Wilder, we didn't get to see that. Damn that guy. Yeah, so, alright. No more to say about that. Errol Spence Jr. retired after losing to Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu has been on a comeback trail, since losing the rematch against Fundora. Hasn't knocked out anybody, but has been very dominant in his last three wins. The third one against Errol Spence in Australia. Yeah, it was in Australia, so by the way. Yeah. Yeah, not much to say. Errol Spence simply outgunned, against a younger opponent, Prime, 31. He's like, what, 35 or something. Let's see. Errol Spence. He is 36. Okay. Well, then it's a good time to retire, 36, There's nothing to regret, man. Definitely not. Well, he's had quite a career, only 2 losses, 28 wins. Yeah, but the layoff before the Terence Crawford fight kind of ruined him. I believe it would have been a much better fight, much more, even if he would have been, more active before that. And yeah, just has a great, resume. Kell Brook, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Yordanis Sugas, some of the very best of their time at 147. I think since he moved up to now he's moved up to 154, ended in a disaster, one might say, even though that's an overstatement, maybe. Same thing as with Keith Thurman, almost you can argue, even though Thurman has fought at 154. Also, Edgar Berlanga scored a TKO against Stephen Butler in the 7th round. Stephen Butler has been around for a while, even though he's only 30 still. Wow, I can't believe it. But yeah, he's been in many wars and been knocked out before, and He's a kill or be killed type fighter, which is probably why he's still getting these big fights, rather, yeah, rather big, because he already had 5 losses before this. Yeah, but yeah, he's a puncher and exciting fighter. But yeah, Berlanga just stronger, younger, and slightly younger but fresher. Definitely far less professional fights. And he was first down, but then in round 2 he dropped Butler in the 6th round, and in the 7th Butler had no more to give. He was just being, overwhelmed, and the referee dramatically jumped on Butler and to end it. And yeah, there seemed to be some animosity also between those guys. Well, yeah. So that's pretty much it. I see also Sergey Derevyanchenko fought. He lost to a young guy called Jalil Hackett, and on points, tough guy, tough, really thick, tough. Never gonna get stopped. So, but his best days are true also fast. All right, so that was it, my friends, boxing brothers. Okay, so I salute you. I'll be back soon for another, let's say prediction round. Okay, salute. Bye.